Hello, loves. Welcome back to another review. This one is part 2 of Saving Me Season 2. We are starting right into episode 6. Okay, this one is another one that made me question continuing, but again, we get to it when we do. This one, Bennett's working on compassion, so let's see how he epically fails before actually growing. The main issue we face is actually Liam's first heartbreak, and it's Bennett's goal to help him through it to better gain empathy. It doesn't go well. Boy is definitely not doing well with it, like at all. But with a bit of a push, we find out that it's a girl from Liam's dance class who has him down bad. His attempt to get her to notice him are not done well either, so he feels rejected. And Bennett's idea, feel what he's going through to know how to emphasize better. So yeah, in the DGS we have another visitor coming, this time an alien that sees emotions as not something worthy and more so something a true intellectual species wouldn't be dealing with. Bennett creates a machine that reads and records other emotions, and he goes around doing that. He takes them and projects them on himself so he can feel them. Needless to say, he understands Liam's upset now. Ooh wait. His idea when this is to fix his heartbreak by changing the source of it, Jessica, the girl from dance class. More specifically, wanting her to begin crushing on Liam. Our alien visitor goes around and still needs more to know if his species should align with the DGS, so to go around without being noticed as an alien, he puts on a disguise. And here is where I had a bit of an issue. It's confirmed that in fact he is a male. He's not a species where they have multiple genders or whatever. And he ends up putting on a disguise that is a teenage girl. So yeah, possibly another LGTB plus thing, but again, I might be looking too much into it, but I wanted to at least touch on it for you to decide. But this one, I don't know, out of the two of them feels more pinning that, to say the least. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like the other one could easily be like aliens, oh, multiple genders, but this one, I don't know, hit a different chord because it's legit a male character portraying himself as a teenage girl. Sorry about that. So like I said, wanted to touch on that so you guys can decide for your own viewing sakes. Bennett decides to fix the Jessica problem by altering some of the emotions and projects them on her to make her crush on Liam. That backfires after, of course, because the device goes haywire and projects the same emotion of attraction to Liam on everyone it comes across. And even worse, the emotion cocktail they created isn't so simple and makes everyone obsessed with Liam and not just a tad crush. Our alien friend too gets hit by it, so now our emotionless visitor is feeling full-on emotions and chasing after Liam like the rest of everyone. Our boys are on the run and trying to get the device back, but to do so accidentally get their location noticed by all chasing Liam. Of course, though, our Bennetts manage to reverse things in the nick of time, as usual. Our alien friend decides not to use their Volt, but is actually intrigued by their emotions, so maybe later their minds will be changed. Jessica does come around later, saying how she's not interested, so our boy's back to heartbreak, but our other boy, Bennett, does better at helping him feel better, offering food and even an open ear. So sweet to see the growth. And next, into episode 7, we are on a ride in this one. Mama tries to get the family to spend more time connecting and less on screens. She has a real point that I feel like many families could think more on. Of course, the others aren't much for her demand of no screen time for the rest of the week. Dad's even a little upset about it, but stays on board with his wife. A sweet thing sticking together as a parenting unit. It's our boy who has it worse, as you know the whole deal with someone giving over their weapons and you have that one character who always has more. This is Bennett with his devices. Just like, seriously, boy's got him stored all over himself. This episode is for sure working on screen time, as even old Bennett has the issue. So it's something that was never resolved, but hopefully will be now. It's Mom taking the device in the main timeline and Eddie playing Mom to do the same in the future timeline. He doesn't have a weak, just a go back and fix it kind of deal like the younger Bennett does. And apparently Eddie has a sense of smell, but he can conveniently turn it off. I just thought that was a little funny tidbit to tell you guys. Bennett is struggling hard, so it's help from Unicorn Commando when all else is lost, right? They get grilled hard, and it's the best. I would love to see this show really made like a spin-off or something, but the help is not much help. Even more so, Bennett's solution is to make a device to help them stay off devices. Typical Bennett. We have little troll-like aliens in the DGS headquarters called barnacles that apparently are tempered by temperature. See what I did there? Cold and they're good, and calm, not, and they're not. Bennett's device is a bracelet that shuts out all electronics. He's near for 10 hours, but remember, we might not be in Bennett's future, but it is more future than us, so practically everything is electronic. This, of course, is an issue when Bennett heads to school and shuts off the door because, you've guessed it, it's electronic. He manages to get out, but it triggers the shutdown of the whole Snodgrass building. And remember what's underneath? Again, you've guessed it, the DGS headquarters, so our little buddies are out and wreaking havoc. The same issue arises all along Bennett's way to school as he shuts down just about everything. Maybe taking off the watch? Yeah, no. Our boy pushes through anyway, and even the water fountain is electronic. Okay then. Mom and Dad are locked in the elevator and separate Mom to figure out the power issue, and she's pretty certain she knows who's to blame, and she does. Even more so when she notices a convenient path from their place to school without any power. Remember our criminal buddies too from last season? Yeah, they're back, and the mama notices Bennett's deal of turning off power and kidnaps him to use to get her son out. Things just keep getting worse, and it's not like the DGS can help because their power's out, so they aren't getting anything in about issues, and not to mention their medical problem that's keeping them pretty occupied, but maybe Mom will help. It's mission-free criminal son, and things seem to be running pretty smoothly. Like I said, everything is just about electronics, so is all the prison and the system. Mission-free son turns into a bank robbing mission. Things are running better at the DGS, as apparently the weekends of the Barnacles is board games, and Dad's on that while the rest of everyone tries to get things back and running. While that's going on and Bennett's accidentally freeing all the criminals in the prison, Mom does come to the rescue before bumping into an old friend. It's Duke. This episode seriously is just like bringing them all back into play. A quick what's going on with this dog before she's not so shocked when remembering whose dog he was. Because remember, he can talk, and he's talking to Mom, and Mom's like, oh, what's going on? Before she's like, oh, yeah. And we are teaming up with Bennett accidentally not so helping with his too smart self. He calls out Mom being a robot, and that not being possible because of the electronics being off, because he doesn't realize it's her to come to save him, but it's enough to cause the needed distraction to pull the criminal Mom and one of the sons off for Duke to come to the rescue. Oh, and apparently I didn't pay much attention because the reason they couldn't take the bracelet off before was because it was indestructible. So yeah, that makes sense, but not enough to why he'd do that. But also that apparently a corrosive agent was able to eat through it, so I guess not as indestructible as Boy was trying, but a good thing. Things are back to okay, and even more so as Bennett's learned his lesson, and another happy ending of growth. Next up is episode 8. This episode we are dealing with Bennett learning to overcome greed. It is all rooted in the original doing a fundraiser to afford a remote control car The problem, the fundraiser also taught him some great business skills. So it's try not to fall down the same fault by doing the same thing. Let's see how well this goes. The idea, a fundraiser that won't corrupt, so chocolate it is that they choose. Yeah, not so well. He created a chocolate empire and still greedy, so it's back to the past to try again. Still chocolate, but this time with older Bennett keeping a closer eye on things. Bennett's new idea to stop the chocolate business in its tracks, only younger Bennett is in too deep. He's bought a ton of chocolate, literally like a ton. How? Selling some algorithms, which seems counterintuitive, as he could have just bought the truck he wanted, which older Bennett says, but hey, younger self thought of that and did. He just had his self already hooked on selling chocolates and greed when left unattended, so great work there. The new deal, sell the last of the chocolates and drop it after that. Hopefully a new plan that actually works. Older Bennett also teaches younger self some new business tips. And what is happening at the DGS? A mole. Not literally, but someone is copying things in the vault before returning it. That leads the commander to team mom and dad up to solve the case. Not something they are wanting at first, but maybe it will turn out better just with the rule of no PDA. How will Bennett's plan go wrong this time? They create a compound to make people want more chocolate, and it turns people into chocolate zombies. So yeah, that's great. We find out who the mole is. It's Dad. Okay, not really, but the perpetrator looks like him, and we know it's not because, one, well, it's obviously not our dad, but two, Dad's with Mom when they spot him, so no way he can be in two places at once, at least not that we know of. The chocolate business now loops in Liam and Sophie, more hands, faster output, and still more zombie chemicals being sprayed to lure more people in. The idea of how the culprit looks like Mark, Dad, is that there's a disguise tech in the vault too, so that has to be how they look like him. Bennett is offered a chance to make a donation and completely sidesteps. So our plan is definitely not down the right path, and our kids are creating a pyramid scheme. So again, not the right path, like whatsoever. It doesn't take long before Bennett realizes his misstep, and not so long after that we get swarmed by chocolate zombies, and Sophie found a new cat friend. It's chasing down our copycat, or copy Mark. Yeah, I know, not that great. And of course, it's the classic who's before it's quickly resolved and our imposter caught. It's a fast plan in action as the kids try to find a way to help the chocolate zombies. Liam distracting the zombies while Bennett comes up with an antidote. Of course, all is well, but not without the cost of Bennett's truck. Poor boy. Imposter is quickly shown who, and it turns out it was one of the barnacles who was left out after the last issue with them. Bennett learns his lesson, and instead of buying a new truck, decides to donate all his earnings to the same charity that asked for donations earlier, so all ends better than we started as usual. Not without a little emotional scarring on older Bennett's side as he comes back to his time and runs off when Eddie welcomes him home with some chocolate. But hey, a little trauma never hurt anybody. Okay, yeah, that's a lie. But hey, it builds character. Episode 9. It's game night, but Dad seems to be pretty tired, and Bennett's not playing so nice. He doesn't play the loser too well, especially when he feels like it was a loss that could have been easily avoided. Sore loser big time. It's lesson time. Not to be such a grouch and learning to do a better job at keeping his cool when it comes to things that are irritating him. This only becomes a little harder when Penelope Snodgrass is his project partner. They do come up with a reason for his problem, sleep. Makes sense, lack of sleep tends to be the thing to push people into being grouchy. I mean, I don't do well either when I'm tired. Bennett has a tendency to stay up late inventing, so the solution is to come up with a way to still do so while he's getting the rest he needs. There's also an issue between Snodgrass Industries noticing a quick energy spike from the DGS, so they are on the hunt for the reason. Bennett's invention is a nightcap that helps him get a full night's sleep in half the time. So it's sweet dreams, and old Bennett pushed back to the future while his younger self does. But he comes to a future that is totally different. He's married to Penelope and is not liking it. Oh, and younger Bennett's device causes him to definitely problem solve, but by sleepwalking. I see an issue coming. It's the next day, and younger Bennett, paired up with Penelope, starts to actually like her. So this is where it all starts. His older self sees it and is not for it at all. Trying to help Dad out that night, he makes a helmet for him as well, and exactly what is expected happens. He sleepwalks too to problem solve his own issues needing. He's also met by sleepwalking Bennett, and they team up to head to the DGS. So we don't see what happens, only that Snodgrass picks up another energy solver. Yeah, we find out real quick Bennett took out some guards as they stole the Eternity Seed object. It's a alien seed that makes plant monsters that keeps sending out the energy signal that the Snodgrass energies keeps picking up. Before they are able to do anything about it, Snodgrass's drones come in to try and get it, but they aren't very successful, and even more so causes when one gets turned into one of those plant monsters mentioned earlier. Dad and Mom race to Bennett's room where everything's going down, but not before Bennett gets snagged by one of the other robots and another monster is created. How are they going to explain this? Bennett is on the run and heads straight to Penelope for help, so the crush is hitting hard. Mom and Dad still are on the hunt. Drones are back crowding Bennett, and this time Penelope, but not all is lost because a robot she's been working on gets used for defense before Mom as super soldier self comes in and takes the seed back. The crush is still hitting hard, and poor Bennett doesn't know what the deal is, but older Bennett does and still tries to squash it. It's sad because when he heads back, he gets his wish of no Penelope, but it's actually bummed him out. The past 2 nights made him realize how lonely things are on the romance front, that he'd rather not be so lonely. He has Eddie and didn't while Penelope was there, but it's not the same to him. Dad and Mom explain things, but they go back to the shampoo story, only Bennett's not buying it. He goes to investigate and spots Dad and Mom going into the elevator. So that's great. And we are on the season finale. Jeez Louise, episode 10. This one totally turned me around. I wasn't going to do this review, but decided to change my mind with this episode. I will definitely be giving season 3 a shot if it ever comes out, but it definitely made me at least semi-backtrack my earlier concerns, but not too much to not mention them as already expressed multiple times. But we'll talk about the change of mind reason when the end comes. For now, we are back to dealing with Bennett, finding out about the elevator. We also find out when he found out the first time, he created a whole lot of catastrophes, which lines up with the typical Bennett style. But this time, he's finding out earlier and causing another literal apocalypse scenario where aliens are invading in the future timeline, which our older Bennett is currently dealing with. We also meet future Penelope, this time who is the commander of the DGS and not our future wife. She's come to get him for messing up with the timeline. It's a big no-no to do time traveling, which, I mean, yeah, seems like a logical role. We don't want people going back in time and messing up our current timeline for this exact scenario. It's back to the past to fix things, and it's right into Bennett's yelling at his older self. His hot-headed self wants to demand answers from his parents, but of course his older self isn't having it, and it's right into the mindscape. He tries to show him the commitment his parents have and to make him trust them without finding out what they do, but of course he's not so much for it. He eventually tells that he made a huge mistake by finding out their secrets. It's actually here that the drop is made that made me start questioning sticking with this show. The first mention of faith, actually. Older Bennett mentions his parents' faith, and his younger self is taken back because he doesn't understand why his older self doesn't believe in something greater. It's safe to assume that we are talking about God, so our younger self is a believer, but his older self only believes in what's seen. And it's a really sad and touching moment, but like I said, it definitely made me like, okay, I'm definitely going to give season 3 a shot because I want to see where they're going to take this. It's still a battle between the Bennetts, as his stubbornness is not wanting to let go so easily. We also have another alien coming to see if they want to make an alliance. This time it's Mom and the Commander going to their planet. It doesn't go over so well, as the Queen not only refuses to partner but decides to take the vault to be on her planet. So it's another battle to be had. We reach another issue as Bennett accidentally leads Snodgrass to the elevator. His older self tries to get them to run away when he's down from the security measure, because remember, it electrocutes people. Or I might not have told you guys. Yeah, this elevator has a serious security measure to where if you try to get into it, yeah, you get shocked. But his younger self seems to side with Snodgrass to open it. Yeah, not cool. It turns out, though, our boy is only playing him because he knows he'll try to get in on his own anyway, so his goal is to sabotage. Mom and Commander are locked up, so things are tied up on their end, literally, but of course our mom is too good to stay locked up and is quick to get them out. Bennett's attempt, though, backfires. His sabotage isn't doing too much of actually sabotaging and ends up helping instead. That lines up. Bennett wants to help and ends up not. He wants to not help and ends up accidentally doing so. It's some butt kicking of aliens to get back home on our Mom and Commander side. And I have to say, the Commander does a pretty well job to help out too. I don't know why it's so surprising. I mean, I kind of do. Dude seems pretty laid back and kind of irresponsible at times. Maybe that's not the right word. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he'd be able to be good in these kind of situations, but I mean, he is the leader for a reason, so yeah. But I guess I can eat my words with that. The Bennetts are full defense mode as they try to stop Snodgrass. Things turn worse for Mom and the Commander when they get caught again. But it's Dad who comes in with the save. You get your girl, Mark, and he really does, but not before the Queen sneaks through the portal back to Earth after our group. Bennett is face to face with Snodgrass as he seems to have a trick up his sleeve. It's mind play. He convinces Snodgrass that he's the one who created the elevator and the gadget he's always after. How can a kid do that? Because he says he's an old man in his younger self's body. Okay, you go, kid. Secret's told that Bennett shouldn't know because of obviously who. Snodgrass gives up real quick. The battle in the DGS is still going on. Mom is doing good before she gets whooped, and Mark has to help enough for her to get back up on her feet, and the Queen is captured. All the hullabaloo with Snodgrass, it finally makes younger Bennett relent and trust Mom and Dad. Things tie up in a sweet bow as usual. Even the future is back to normal. It's a sad ending still, though, because our older guy is beginning to question if maybe his philosophy of only data and what you can see is all he should believe. And our boy is back to curious as he opens the elevator again on his own before Mom and Dad wake up, and he tells them that he has some questions, and the season cuts off there. Like, seriously, a good ending, I have to say. Nothing too drastic to make me frustrated to wait, but just enough to see a new season having a good jumping off point to pull us back in. And that is it with this review. I appreciate you all coming back for another review, as I always do, and I would ask you to please like and subscribe and push that notification bell if you would like to know when another video drops. But that is all for now, and I pray blessings upon you all. Goodbye.
Rob, she's gone.
Just calm down. What happened?
Olivia, she went out to play with James. They were supposed to be in the backyard, but they're gone. I've looked everywhere. I don't know what to do. What do we do?
Take a breath. Working yourself up isn't going to solve anything.
Of course, I just...
We'll find them.
No, you're right.
I'm headed home right now, but I think you should call James's parents. Have you yet?
I'll call them. Just get home soon.
Okay. Call them and I'll be home in 10 minutes.
Mom, she's gone. Olivia, she's not at home and I haven't been able to reach her for over a week now. Why are you blaming me? Have you ever thought that maybe she's not your only daughter dealing with things right now? I never signed up for this, so why am I the one getting chewed out? Don't say that. Of course I care about her, but that doesn't mean I have to make her every part of my life. I have my own kid I have to take care of too. How about you take care of yours? Okay, I get it, but you know where she's headed. I'll leave the key under the mat, but I need to seriously get back home. Ollie's not going to be okay if I'm not the one putting him to bed. Look, I can only deal with one thing at a time. I'll call you when he's down and we can figure out what to do then. Yeah, he's still overseas, so it's just me right now.